welcome to the OK Show. That's our musical guest, Wigley, and he's getting ready to rock, so you want to stick around for that. Also coming up on today's show, we're going to the docks with the Bark program, visiting the land of Nod with a dream consultant, sleeping with Che, that's the title of a book, and talking with a local theatre legend. All that and lots more coming up on the OK Show.
Hi, I'm Anna Jackson, and right now on the OK Show, I'm with Mr. Neil Facey, and we're going to have a little chat about stuff. He is the educator, well, he was the drama and music educator for a very long time. He's recently retired, and I know he's been an educator for a long time because he was my drama teacher and my choir teacher when I was in grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. Hi, Neil. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Of course, what you didn't mention is I was only 9 at the time.
Oh,
so,
of course.
yes.
We were both very young.
Yes,
I was in
yes.
I think changing my diapers. So I wanted to talk with you about the International Choir, but I want to first talk to you about, you have been an educator, and even though you've retired recently, you've always been in drama and music. So what gave you that passion? How did you do this?
Well, I guess I wasn't very good at sports. I took piano lessons from the time I was a young kid, and then got involved in theater, and it just became one of those things when I was a teenager that became a passion and continued right through the rest of my life.
So how old were you then, really honestly, when you first got your first teaching job?
21.
Okay, so you were 21. That's okay.
It's many years ago, as you said.
I know. Not only have you been working in school district, but you co-founded Viva Musica.
Yes.
How is that education carried on to what you're doing right now?
Well, I don't know. It's, since I retired from teaching, I've tried to stay sort of active and doing things and being able to pick and choose the kinds of things that you want to do. So I've been involved with Melina Moore and Vernon with the Rocky Horror Show, and I've done a show with Shakespeare Kelowna and some things with Bumbershoot. So I've just kind of continually picked up projects along the way.
And right now, one of your hats is you're working with Opera Kelowna.
Yes, yes.
And what are you doing for them?
I'm the production manager for this summer's production of Carmen.
For Carmen, yeah. We had Alexandra Babel here a couple of weeks ago, and I got a chance to chat with her. So, speaking of many hats, a new hat that you have got is the International Choir Music Director.
Yeah, it's not
happen?
completely a new hat. I mean, it's something that I used to do a lot more of and then haven't for a long time. Yeah. So I was kind of surprised when I got the phone call back in the fall asking me if I would be interested, because I didn't think anybody even knew that I did that. That was, well, I started in October, so I'm very new at this, and I did the Christmas show with them, and now this is a spring show coming up in May. Which
we're going to talk about, because I've got a little surprise to tell everybody about the spring show. Tell me about, is it new music? How are the choir, the people in the choir responding to you? Is it closed shop? All these questions I have in my mind. Can people come in and join still?
Yeah, probably not now, because we're getting quite close to performance time. But yeah, it's a very open, welcoming group. They're a great group of people, and you know, if people want.
Are you singing modern songs? I'm sorry. Tell me a little bit about them. You're not doing classical things from the repertoire.
No, it's not classical. It's all pretty familiar. In fact, the show is called "It's About Time."
Right. So tell me about that.
So each of the songs has got some connection to time. So it might be a season, it might be a time of the week, it might be a time of the day, so they're all somehow time related.
Well, the thing about time and the relation of us is we've known each other for a long time, and things are coming full circle, because Neil has asked me to be the guest singer for a few songs for the spring concert. So I get to sing at least 4 songs, which I'm learning very well.
Good, good.
And I'm going to start practicing with the choir very soon. What are we going to expect on May the 12th with with the concert?
Well, this is kind of a unique event, and they've been doing this for a number of years. But what it is, it's a concert, dinner, dance combination thing. So I know it seems like kind of a strange thing, but basically the patrons come. We do about a 1-hour concert with a choir, and then a group, Vic's dance band, provides the music, and there's a sit-down meal, and then there's a dance. So,
fantastic!
Yeah,
So it's a whole
evening.
package.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
brilliant, and we'll show where you can get tickets. But just to clean up, what would you like more about the Okanagan and the arts?
I think the Okanagan has really come a long ways in the arts since I've moved here. I moved here in 1980, and it's just grown so much, culturally grown so much. We now have a long-standing symphony, ballet, opera,
You're right, we don't
theater
need any.
companies. No, we do, but we've really come a long way. So I'm really pleased to have seen
Since
that.
when we first started here in Kelowna. So listen, I thank you very much for sharing some time with us here on the Okanagan Show. I'm going to now pass you over to Beamers, and he's going to sing a new song called The Two of Us.
We've been dancing all around this for a while. You can see the sparks fly high for 100 miles. Everybody knows, but nobody said it. By the look in your eyes, I know where it's headed. If your heart is beating fast as mine right now, if it feels like you're a little lightheaded and weak in the knees, and the room just went up 20 degrees. If it feels like you feel like you wanna spend the rest of tonight just falling in love, that makes two of us. I can lie and say that I don't feel a thing. I'm wrapped around your finger like a string. It's the kind of game that we both win. All we gotta do is jump right in. If your heart is beating fast as mine right now, if it feels like you're a little lightheaded and weak in the knees, and the room just went up 20 degrees. If it feels like you feel like you wanna spend the rest of tonight just falling in love, that makes two of us. Sitting in the dark, playing with fire, getting each other a little bit higher, on the edge, about to fall right now. If it feels like, yeah. If it feels like you're a little lightheaded and weak in the knees, and the room just went up 20 degrees. If it feels like you feel like you wanna spend the rest of tonight just falling in love, that makes two of us. Yeah, that makes two of us.
I want to applaud you. That was incredible.
Thank you so much.
I wish you could see everybody around the studio right now sort of tapping their feet and dancing along. So, Bima, You're here with us today, but a little birdie told me you've actually been back and forth to Nashville recently.
Yeah, I've been writing in Nashville for the past year and a half, actually, back and forth every few weeks, 6 weeks actually. Yeah, no, and I've been doing that for a year and a half, and it's been incredible working down there with so many amazing people.
So how does somebody from Kelowna end up in Nashville?
A mutual friend introduced me to somebody named Keith Follazay, who's been nominated for a Grammy, wrote songs for Tim McGraw, Faith Hill.
No big deal.
It's still crazy to think that I'm actually working with this guy, and we've been writing together for the past year and a half, and we have like 17 songs. We're planning on writing more. I can't say a lot about what's happening down there, but it's going to be big, and I'm so excited for it.
So the plan is to maybe release an album, or what are we
Maybe.
gonna see?
There's a lot in the works right now, so just kind of see how it unfolds.
Okay, and then you have some shows coming up in the summer, and I feel like that's going to be a summer tune for sure.
Oh yeah, thank you. Actually, I'm really I like that song a lot. It's really fun to play, especially with Jack over here.
Hi, Jack.
Yeah, he's my bassist, and Tommy, who's our drummer, who couldn't be here today. But I'm super excited to get out, do shows with them in the summer. We have Rib Fest in Penticton, Kootenay Country Music Festival over in Castlegar. We're playing Peach Fest August 11th, which is Saturday night, which is incredible. And yeah, so many awesome opportunities coming up, and I can't wait for this summer. It's going to be incredible.
And I've heard as well, see, I have got some good connections. I heard as well that you've been opening for other bigger artists, country artists mainly.
Yeah.
And there was one story about you having to hold down the show because there was a delay with the plane. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
I can, yeah. It was about a month ago, actually. I was opening for Dwight Yoakam at the River Rock Casino in Richmond, and his flight was late. So our set was originally 25 minutes, and then we had to bump it up to 45. And then last minute, they said 55, and we ended up being on stage for 65 minutes, which was, I mean, I can't complain. I love being on stage, and more stage time is more fun. So, but it was a phenomenal experience, and I had such a blast with these guys.
So. And what kind of crowd is that?
It was a theater. There were probably about 1,200 people there. It was phenomenal. They were a great crowd and so receptive.
And just winging it as you go.
Yeah, it was pretty much fill in every song we can. I think we even played a song that the three of us had never played together before, so it was kind of a really last-minute thing. But no, we had a blast. It was a great show. And then we opened for Brett Kissel 2 weeks ago, which was phenomenal. So this year so far has been amazing, and it's only going to get better, so I can't wait.
That is incredible. I love how you're just like, oh yeah, and then I did this, and then this happened, and you know what, I can't wait to see more from you and maybe check out some of those shows in the summer. So thank you for joining us today.
Awesome, thank you for having me.
And now we're going to head over to Anita and her dreamy guest.
Thank you for that, Lucy. I'm Anita Reimer. I'm here with Caleb Matthews, dream consultant. Now, Caleb, you are the very first dream consultant that I've ever met. Tell us about that. What is a dream consultant?
Absolutely. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you, Anita, for having me and this amazing show. Dream consultant, well, that's what we have when we have somebody who's looking at their dreams, people's dreams that they dreamed in the night season, and interpreting those dreams to mean something for our lives in the waking hours. So, in fact, a third of our lives scientifically are spent dreaming. So by the time we reach 60 years of age, we'll have slept 20 years of our lives. So it is important, and it is my business to grab the interpretation of people's dreams.
Wow. Yeah, when you think of it, it is like a third of our lives is spent dreaming. How did you know that this is something that you wanted to do, that you could do as a profession?
Absolutely. Well, at the age of 6, I started having these vivid encounters and these dreams. I was homeschooled. So with that came these incredible vivid dreams to where there is something happening beyond my explanation, my understanding. So I grasped for it. I started learning about it when my parents homeschooled me in that. I went to a dream school in the United States called Streams Academy, where we learned about monastic meditation and interpretation of dreams. We went to festivals throughout the world, like the summer solstice in Stonehenge in the UK. We went to haunted happenings in Salem, sat in front of real Wiccans and witches and interpreted their dreams, and the natural person as well too, and had a lot of experience there. So I felt like this was something for my life because it's something I had at the earliest part of my life, and it just continued from there.
And it sounds like you have a very international training, a lot of international training. Yeah. What do dreams tell us about our lives?
Well, they provide what are beyond our subconscious. So in the daytime, we're thinking with our natural mind and there are things going on, but when we're sleeping, our natural mind is at rest. So our spirit, because we're made up of 3 parts, spirit, soul, that has a body. So our spirit is able to guide us to the broadcast screen, if you will, and show us what's happening beyond our subconscious, those messages that God, our higher power, creator, spirit, life, whatever you call that God is speaking to us in our dreams. In fact, the greatest truth that I tell our audience is that God is eagerly interested in invading your dreams, even more so than we are to even look at them.
Very interesting. So how can people benefit from paying attention to the dreams?
For sure. So throughout history, a lot of people may not know that Harriet Tubman, George Washington, people in history actually use their dreams to help guide them in their lives. Harriet Tubman was a runaway slave in the Underground Railroad, and when she was running away from her captors, she would fall asleep and have these vivid dreams that would guide her to freedom. George Washington had dreams about freeing the last of his slaves as well too when he got to the end of his life. And then modern day examples, I have friends in Penticton, Colleen Backman and her husband, who invented the kick spike on the Dragon's Den. And part of that revelation for the invention came from a dream. So there are things in our dream so that we can actually use for our lives to help us and benefit us in our day-to-day life.
Right, changing
Yes.
the course of history, doing all kinds of phenomenal things that we never thought possible or wouldn't had we not paid attention to our dreams.
Sure.
Do you think people take enough stock in their dreams?
I don't think so. I think that 90% of the people that I come in contact with in holistic fairs, New Age fairs, conventions, seminars, I'll ask them, do you dream? Are you a dreamer? And they'll say, well, I haven't dreamed in a long time, or I don't write them down anymore. People are dreaming all the time. It's just the clutterness and the busyness of life that gets in the way. So we just have to write them down. We've got to treasure them and steward them, because we are all dreamers. We are the DNA of dreams, because our parents, they wanted to have kids, all of us. So we are the birthing of a dream. So physically we are, and spiritually we are. Everybody is a dreamer.
And when did you first kind of tap into consulting people on their dreams?
Well, it's when I started going to Streams Academy, that secondary school of monastic interpretation, and visiting people in my life journey where they're like, wow, I'm lacking direction for my life. I need some sort of breakthrough that my natural mind can't speak to me. And so dreams are a way of uniting culture, and they're a way of providing answers where we can cross the cross-cultural barriers and break those down. So dreams are very important for us to be able to actually dive into and provide for people, to provide those answers. So that is why, because people are searching for the breakthrough in their lives, and it comes in the dream life.
Okay, so in a nutshell, what would you say, why are dreams important to you?
Dreams are important to me because I've spent a third of my life there. It's 20 years by the time I reach 60 years of age, and there's just so much going on there that to counsel and guide me for my life. So I need to get there, and I think people need to get there, because there's only so much a human being can describe before we need to go beyond to God to get those answers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Caleb, for joining us. We really appreciate having you here and telling us more about dreams. And now, back to Lucy and the BARC program.
And my guests right now are Francis and Phyllis. Come on up here. And I'm so sorry. I remember the important people here, but who are you?
I'm John Tyler Binfet. I'm from the University of British Columbia. I'm a researcher in the Faculty of Education, and I work with dogs.
And I'm just teasing, of course. So, John, tell us about why I have these beautiful dogs here in the studio.
We have these dogs here because these are dogs that work in the BARC program at UBC, and it stands for Building Academic Retention Through Canines. And we're a stress reduction program, and we have 60 dogs from the community here in Kelowna who work in programs that we offer.
Okay, and what does a program entail?
It's a variety of things. We've been funded by TELUS. We're funded by VITA for different things. We work with the Boys and Girls Club. We've had students bus out to UBC to work with dogs in a program called Building Confidence Through Canines. We've had a recent program at the RCMP precinct where we have 7 therapy dogs working to do help with constable stress reduction, and that's proven a big hit. So we're all over, and we mostly work on campus to reduce stress in students.
Okay, so for the dogs, what are some of the requirements for them, and then for the owners? Is it open to specifically trained dogs, or what do we need to do?
That's a great question, Lucy. So we're not looking for robots. We're really not. We're looking for personalities, and the students at UBC and on campus are really looking for dogs that remind them of the living room dog, right? When they come home from break, and dogs that are there to greet them. So we have an assessment process, and we really assess the handlers too. And all my team vote on every dog and every handler. So we can have dogs that pass, but handlers that don't.
Okay. Now, what are some of the benefits of being part of the BARC program? You said it's stress relief, but for somebody that's not really sure, like, okay, I don't feel like I'm stressed, but
Yeah.
why would I sort of reach out and contact you?
Well, you'd probably come to one of our drop-in sessions, and it's open to the community. You would, the one thing we do, just what you're doing, hands-on contact with the dogs is critical. That brings stress down. What you and I are doing is connecting, and so the dogs are called social catalysts or social lubricants, and they bring people together who might not otherwise cross paths. So that's one of the benefits. For students on campus who are maybe feeling a bit isolated, it's a great place to get plugged into a micro-community where they can feel supported.
And like you said, it's a nice icebreaker because now people can redirect the conversation about the dog versus those personal questions, which some people aren't always so comfortable with.
Yeah, they really kind of redirect the focus. And, you know, a lot of our dogs are from Pause It Forward or local dog rescue, and so they have these stories to tell, and the handlers are kind of the conduit to tell the stories. And we've got a street dog from Taiwan, and we've got a street dog from Los Angeles, and so they bring these rich stories that people connect to.
And that's wonderful. So how can we find out more information about this program?
Well, we are at barkubc.ca is our website, and then you can follow us on Facebook at barkubco, and lots of information there. And then you're welcome to come out to campus and visit some of the stuff that we do.
So we don't have to be a student, we can just
It's open to the
show up
community. It's
and-
most predominantly students.
Yeah.
We're funded by Ian Cullen and the Associate Vice President of Students out there, and we predominantly serve the student population, but we have a lot of community members come.
Awesome. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to stand here and just keep stroking my puppies here. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks
joining
for
us
having us.
today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think we've tired our friends out here. But if you want to find out more information on the BART program and how it can benefit you, check out the website. Right now, we are heading over to Emily and our community calendar.
Hi, I'm Emily Strandebo, and here is some of what's happening in the Okanagan. Needle and Thread. The Arts of Quilting is taking place at the Okanagan Heritage Museum through May 25th in Kelowna. On display, you'll find a traditional yo-yo patchwork quilt, crazy quilt, and log cabin quilt. Cat hair, beads, and even a wasp nest have been integrated into some of these original art pieces. Writing, like all art, to express and have fun, is taking place at the Okanagan Regional Library, Saturdays at 9 a.m. through May. Bring your enthusiasm and be ready to find your inner writing voice. There's a Thursday night dance at the Parkinson Activities Center. Heart and Soul, Vic and Jim keep toes tapping with a well-rounded selection of dances, including waltz, foxtrot, and the cha-cha. The 12th annual Rotary Used Book Sale is going on from April 2nd to 7th at the Penticton Curling Rink. Used books, records, games, and puzzles will be available. That is just some of what's going on in the Okanagan. I'm Emily Strandebo, and see you there.
Thank you for that, Emily. I am here with Donnie Baxter. Donnie is quite the Renaissance man. I understand that you are an inventor, a mechanic, a painter, a singer, songwriter, and now a novelist. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, and you describe yourself as a 60-something drifter in your bio. What does that mean?
I'm a homeless person. I'm a homeless person.
Okay.
Yeah. So at one point in time, I had a wife, a family, children, a job, a career, TV, the whole thing. But I went through a bad period in my life, lost everything, and eventually made the decision that I was going to stay without, without things. There's things you can do. You can end up living on the streets, which I've done. And what I chose to do was become a seasonal worker. So I would spend part of the year in Kelowna working on a farm, and then part of the year in Winnipeg writing music and doing various things. That's changed a bit now because the places where I stayed in Winnipeg just aren't available anymore. So I moved here, and I've been here all winter. But now the farm where I stay is sold, so I might be drifting.
So what makes somebody a drifter?
Where you just really don't have one particular place that you stay. You just move around from here to there, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So tell us about your latest book, Sleeping with Che in Cuba.
Sleeping with Che is the story of Robbie Regent. Robbie Regent is a young boy from Montreal, Canada, and he's a very exceptional child, and he has a very exceptional mother, a single mother, and there's no TV in his house. He's been brought up with no TV, no internet, no tablets, no smartphone, none of that stuff. He's a blank slate culturally, and him and his mother go on a trip to Cuba, and he discovers Che Guevara. And almost overnight, he turns into a revolutionary, a 10-year-old revolutionary. And the reason he's in Cuba is because his mother has been lured there by a bad person named Adrian, who's kind of a psychopath, and he's setting Cheryl up to destroy her when she gets back to Canada. But he changes, something happens. Robbie changes him, his relationship with Robbie, and he acquires a conscience, but he acquires a conscience about this much too late.
Right.
Yeah, and Cheryl is in a bad situation. She's in some serious doo-doo when, when the story ends.
So what inspired you to write this book?
I was in Cuba. I spent a winter in Cuba.
Oh, fabulous.
So in fact, I even wrote a nonfiction book called 2 Months in Cuba about my trip there. And I didn't stay in a tourist area. I didn't stay in a resort. I stayed with a Cuban family in a small city called Cardenas. Very, very poor, rundown place. And on my very last day there, I decided to do some touristy things. So I went on this double-decker tour bus and goes to all of the resorts, you know, that people stay at. And these people got on. There was a woman and a kid and a guy. And to me, it was obvious that the child was with the woman. And I just didn't like him. The woman and the child seemed to like him, but I just didn't like him. And I just had a bad feeling about him. And I started thinking to myself, it'd be pretty cool if he got hit in the head with a golf ball.
Oh.
Which is a pretty awful thing to think, but
Yeah,
that's what I thought. And so that's what happens in the story. He gets hit in the head with a golf ball, and then the whole thing just revolves around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you love about writing?
Well, I'm kind of a hyperactive person. You know what I mean? I get bored at the drop of a hat, and I just have to keep busy. I have to keep doing things, and I have to be doing things that I can get better at. And writing is just one of those things, along with all the other stuff that you mentioned, the Renaissance stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So where do you get your inspiration from, like to keep writing and to keep continuing on?
You don't. The inspiration is the golf ball, or it's a line in a poem.
So it just comes.
And it's work. It's just so much work. You got to sit down and write 1,500 words a day or whatever, and it's work. It's really like somebody said once, 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's.
What advice would you give to writers that are just starting out?
Start small.
Okay.
Start small. Write letters to the editor of the newspaper. Look at magazines and newspapers and things like this, publications that will allow you to submit things to them, and build up a resume. A novel, a good-sized novel. What's the one? The Hunger Games is about 130,000 words or so. So you do that in little segments. You know, if you think about 130,000 words, you're finished.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Donnie, and we look forward to seeing more of your work. Where can we get it?
You can get this, just contact me on Facebook, facebook.com/sleepingwithshay, and we'll look after it from there.
Great. Thank you so much, Donnie. And now, back to Lucy.
And that's all for this episode. I'm your host, Lucy Hazelwood. And remember, if you have ideas for the OK Show, you can email us here. In the meantime, we're going to go over to you, Beamer, with Roller Coaster. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. Slipping and sliding, you got me hello goodbye, and you got me high and then low, and you got me coming and going, no girl, you got me so confused. You got me over and under, one day it's rainbows and thunder. Is it gonna work out? Hey, I'm beginning to wonder, are you in? Is it something? Are you out? Or is it just nothing? Make up your mind. Are you gonna love me? Make up your mind. Are you gonna leave me? You flip me on and off just like a switch. Give me that smile like a little angel, and you wanna fly and leave me there to tango. One day we're good, the next day it's all over. You're like a roller coaster. Crying and laughing, you got me overreacting. You got me staying up all night and wondering what's gonna happen. I'm twisted in a knot I can't undo.